On your side, NBC 12 News at 11 starts with breaking news.
Richmond, one of multiple cities where angry crowds take to the streets in the protest of the death of George Floyd at the hands of police in Minneapolis. What started as a peaceful march along Broad Street earlier tonight took a turn in the past 30 minutes or so. A police car has reportedly been set on fire. Our crew at the scene has been accosted. Traffic barrels have been smashed and tossed into the street, and now reports of protesters breaking windows at a bank downtown.
And similar scenes are playing out right now in Minneapolis, where it's been another night of fire. There are also reports of vandalism and violence in Atlanta, New York, and Washington, D.C. We have team coverage for you tonight, but we begin here in Richmond.
Karina Bolster is at ground zero of this protest, and the first thing that we have to ask, Karina, are you okay? I understand bottles have been thrown and you were struck earlier tonight.
Yeah, doing much better at this point, Kurt. Thank you for asking. Definitely not a situation I expected myself to be in at that point. We were actually Facebook Live when it all happened. Something thrown at my head, and then my phone ripped out of my hands and then thrown halfway down the street there, and we went to retrieve it, all while being on Facebook Live. So that was quite a situation there. But what we're also dealing with right now is a situation involving fire. You can take a look further down the road here on Gray Street, right out in front of RPD headquarters. There is a police cruiser that is on fire out here at this hour. It really all started over here to the right-hand side, though, where a dumpster caught on fire. We did not get that on video. We were kind of lagging behind there after that situation involving myself and my photographer. But as you can see, a fire engine is further down the road there, out near the police cruiser, likely to start putting it out at this point. We have heard several pops as a result of this car being on fire. We also saw fireworks being shot out just about 20 minutes ago or so. At this point, as you can see, the crowd is remaining back. Officers are really just kind of trying to control the scene and make sure everyone stays away from where these flames are to ensure their safety. One officer actually was telling the group, as he was saying, please step back, you're, quote, doing a good job, thank you. And so that was one thing we heard come from one of the officers' mouths this evening as this protest started. Now, we really want to come back to the beginning. This all started at Monroe Park right around 8:30 this evening. They gathered there, started marching around the streets of downtown Richmond, really staying on the sidewalk for most of it. And then they went their way to the state capitol, where they started walking around using cones and signs to block the road to prevent Richmond police from following them. We've passed by several locations where spray paint has been used on various buildings. We passed by a Wells Fargo that also had its window shattered from some sort of object there at that bank. And so now we are here at kind of the end zone from where we are stopped, dealing with the car fires. And no, we didn't hear about a pepper spray. Okay, so we're actually hearing from some. Do you mind if we speak with you, sir? So walk me through kind of what you experienced.
A pepper spray.
Okay, where were you when it happened?
AR-15s, right on the front line, right on the front.
So right in front of Richmond police.
My little grandmother was talking, and they started pepper spraying.
Okay. What happened there? Did you kind of back away? Or?
Yeah, we left. Pepper spray hurt and burned, you know. Yeah, we backed up, and then the car started blowing up.
What was your reaction, seeing and feeling that?
This energy is great. Like, the city needs to stand up. More people need to come down here and unite. We tired of getting killed by the cops. That's a whole blue gang. Y'all do know that, right? It's a whole blue gang. When they gonna start being accountable for their actions? That's what we want to know. That's what this is all about. When the cops gonna start being accountable for their actions? That's all.
And what do you think? I mean, folks are just kind of milling about right now, just watching.
We really don't want to go nowhere. We want peace. We want the other 3 cops to get locked up.
And you're referring to the folks in Minneapolis. We just want to clarify.
It's a nationwide thing, man. We sticking together about this. We tired of black men getting killed, black women getting killed. You feel that? Do you understand that?
I understand.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. All right. Now, we just heard from him. He said he was pepper sprayed out there near the front line, and that's when they kind of backed away and the car was lit on fire. Again, this is a situation we're monitoring here on scene, and we'll provide you with the latest updates here in downtown Richmond as they develop. But for now, we're going to sign off and toss it back to you in the studio.
All right, Karina, please stay safe.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
A similar scene is playing out all across the nation tonight, and the city where it all started is now under curfew.
New at 11, Daryl Forges joins us with the latest on the arrest of the man responsible.
Derek Chauvin, the former police officer who kneeled on George Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes, now charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. Charging documents now show Floyd was unresponsive for nearly 3 of those minutes. The big question many Americans have been asking, with disturbing videos of what happened to Floyd out there, why did it take so long to file charges?
I thought that it was a little slow. I'm not a lawyer, but I thought that if anybody else would have done that and caught it on tape, we'd have been in jail immediately.
The prosecutor says they've never charged a case that quickly.
We can only charge a case when we have sufficient admissible evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. As of right now, we have that.
New video shows at least 3 officers kneeling on Floyd.
I'm not going to speculate today of the other officers. They are under investigation. I anticipate charges.
Now, a preliminary autopsy report is showing no physical findings that support a diagnosis of traumatic asphyxia or strangulation, but the combined effect of Mr. Floyd being arrested by the police, his underlying health conditions, and any potential intoxicants in his system likely contributed to his death. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, I'm Daryl Forges.
The mayor of Atlanta with strong words for residents of her city where protests there have devolved into violence.
If you want change in America, go and register to vote. Show up at the polls on June 9th. Do it in November. That is the change we need in this country. You are disgracing our city. You are disgracing the life of George Floyd and every other person who has been killed in this country. We are better than this. We're better than this as a city. We are better than this as a country. Go home. Go home.
The CNN headquarters in downtown Atlanta was vandalized, with some even climbing the CNN logo to further damage the building. At one point, either a firecracker or a flashbang was thrown into the CNN lobby before protesters were forced away. No word yet on any injuries.
New at 11, Governor Northam releases a statement on the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. He said in part, quoting here, "We have a lot of work to do in this country and in our Commonwealth. I make the commitment to ensure that we continue to address these issues head on, even when it's uncomfortable and difficult, because I believe our diversity is our greatest strength."
And this all comes as there is a peaceful protest planned for this weekend in Richmond. It starts at 10 a.m. on Sunday at Browns Island, and later that day, the Richmond branch of the NAACP is holding a call to action where Mayor LeVar Stoney, Richmond Police Chief William Smith, and other local leaders are set to speak. Now, you can watch both of those events on the NBC 12 Facebook page. We will also continue to bring you the latest on the protest here in Richmond and nationwide. The second we learn new information, we will post it to our NBC 12 News app so you can have the most accurate and up-to-date information.
We're going to switch gears now and take a live look at First Alert Doppler radar on what's been a First Alert weather day because rain has been popping up back to our west. Time to check in with meteorologist Jim Duncan in the Weather Center for an update on conditions now.
Yes, indeed. We have another round of these are big thunderstorms developing to our west mid-evening, and now they're moving through northern Virginia, and then a little secondary line of these down to the south into Albemarle County. But not severe, but they're producing very heavy rainfall rates now moving up into Madison County. through Culpeper County, up into the northern part of the state, near Winchester, that area. Again, that will bypass Richmond, obviously, but Stafford, Fredericksburg are going to see some really heavy rain out of that. Rainfall rates about 2 inches per hour plus in some of these cells, this one in particular up in eastern Culpeper County. And then this one in Albemarle is a pretty vigorous cell, heavy rainfall coming out of that as well. All of this tracking to the east brings it through these areas west of Richmond. Maybe Louisa seeing some of the rain from this shortly. Also Stafford, northern Spotsylvania, Orange County, catching the bottom edge of that heavy thunderstorm, now moving to the east from northern Virginia. More on your full forecast for the weekend ahead. Some improvement coming up in a few minutes. Kurt.
All right, Jim, thank you. And we continue to follow that breaking news out of Richmond, where what started as a peaceful protest tonight has taken a violent turn in the past 40 minutes or so. A police car set on fire. Our news crew accosted. And the breaking of windows at a Wells Fargo branch downtown. We continue to be live at the scene. Updates on the way. Stay with us. More news right after the break. We want to take you back to downtown Richmond tonight, where protests over the death of George Floyd have turned violent, as they have in so many other cities tonight. Karina Bolster has been in the thick of things since this all started at about 8:30 tonight. At one point, even Karina was assaulted. Karina, what's the situation there now? Fire still burning?
Kurt, there is at least one fire still burning. As we had mentioned earlier this evening, a police cruiser was actually set on fire. The Richmond Fire Department has arrived on scene. They have put out that fire with the cruiser, but as you can see right here over to the right-hand side, that dumpster is still on fire at this point. I believe really officers and even fire crews just trying to analyze the scene here and figure out how to move forward. At this point, we're kind of on the back end of where this protest originally was gathering. So a lot of just onlookers at this point over here on the right-hand side of RPD headquarters. For the most part, officers kind of have just standing in the road there. One thing you'll notice that is a bit different from the other sites we've seen from across the country is that they are just simply wearing their uniforms and their masks. They do not have on any riot gear. They do not have on any face shields like we've seen in other cities dealing with protests tonight as a result of the death of George Floyd up there in Minneapolis. But this is really the situation we're dealing with right now. I can say the area is very calm. Nothing much going on here. Just a lot of folks just gathering, speaking with one another, of course, using their cell phones to record what is going on, especially the fire that is out here currently, and of course that police cruiser that was out here on fire earlier this evening. Now, we did speak with one individual at the top of the hour who mentioned that he was on the front line there when that car was caught fire, and mentioned that he was pepper sprayed and told to move back by police. So we had talked to him about the situation. He explained that people's emotions are high over what happened in Minneapolis. He said he is tired of black men and women getting shot by law enforcement for what he calls no reason. And so this is really the situation that we're dealing with right now. One thing that I forgot to mention is that there is a helicopter that is in the air right now, kind of monitoring the situation at this point. You can see that spotlight that's up there aimed at the ground, just really focusing on where the crowds are right now. Now, as I mentioned, there were at least a couple hundred folks who were out here who started at Monroe Park right around 8:30 this evening and marched around the city. At this point, we are on the back end of where that group was. Just a few folks at this point. I believe the larger group is on the other side of RPD headquarters, but we're standing here for the time being where it is safe, and we'll, of course, provide you with the latest details here on scene. Live and on your side in Richmond, Karina Bolster, NBC 12 News.
All right, please be careful. Thank you, Karina. Tomorrow, the day that a building that's been standing in downtown Richmond for more than 40 years will come crashing down. The implosion of the Old Dominion Energy headquarters is set for tomorrow morning at 7, and the spectacle should last all of about 20 seconds.
And thanks to 3,300 pounds of explosives, that building that we are talking about will crumble without a problem. At least that's what the experts are saying. We will have several crews covering the story, and you can watch it live right here on television. Let's send it to Candace Smith for a look at road closures that are in place to keep the area clear.
All right, guys, you may have noticed some road closures already underway here for the demo tomorrow of the Dominion Energy building. So we've got 7th Street closed and 8th Street closed between Canal and Cary Street. We'll have Canal Street closed between 9th and 7th Street and Cary Street closed between 5th and 8th Street. And then tomorrow we'll have a total of 15 blocks closed. East Main Street and Bird Street closed between 5th and 10th Street. So it's going to be a nice square of 15 blocks here of road closure. So anything below Main Street and above Bird Street, anything between 5th and 10th Street will be closed tomorrow and maybe even the days to come. So allow yourself some extra time traveling through this area. You can still use Main and Bird Street, but I want you paying attention. There are a lot of one-ways. It could get a little tricky traveling through this area. I'm Candace Smith in the First Alert Traffic Center.
All right, Candace, thank you. And of course, we'll be on the air, as we mentioned, from 6 a.m. to 8 tomorrow morning, covering all of the build-up to that big moment at 7. And we'll show you what it looks like after that building comes down. You can also watch on the NBC 12 Facebook page and our news app.
Accurate, reliable, breaking weather specialists. This is NBC 12 First Alert Weather.
Well, right now, weather-wise in Richmond, the storms have not arrived yet, but there are some to the west. We'll see if any might just kind of brush by the metro Richmond area. Temperature-wise, on our JES weather computers now, Chickahominy Middle School, Mechanicsville 73, 74 Henrico High, and Richmond at Harvey Elementary 74. So it is a mild, if not muggy, night out across all of central Virginia. You can see we're all pretty much in the 70s. Now let's talk about the rain, because we did have a big area of thunderstorms that popped about 2 hours ago. It started developing out of the Appalachian Mountains, came across the Shenandoah Valley. The main area is up here to the northwest, a little secondary area down south of there. But this is the bigger one, and this is moving to the east-southeast, which brings it through Dale City, Woodbridge, that part of northern Virginia, maybe Fredericksburg catching some of that, or northern Spotsylvania as well, within the next 45 minutes or so. Really heavy rain, the main feature out of that line of big thunderstorms crossing northern Virginia. This little secondary area actually has been weakening a little bit. It is also moving to the east-southeast. We'll see that going through Lake Monticello at 11:25. Louisa may catch some of the leftover rain from it as it kind of washes out by 11:34. So Fork Union, same story. So bottom line is there's a big area of rain to our west tonight. I think Richmond probably will miss most of it. But then tomorrow, you can see it's just kind of a messy weather pattern here. Another little boundary coming through tomorrow will mean mainly afternoon thunder showers, and mainly Richmond and points southeast, which I'll show you here on the hour-by-hour forecast. Now tonight, you see that storm to the north I just showed you. This is the model guidance, and that went out towards Charlottesville. Where do they go? In the next couple of hours, they're pretty much gone. Fizzling out. They're washed out. There's nothing left of them. By tomorrow morning, we have sunshine early, and it looks like it's sunny at the midday. Then all of a sudden, some showers start popping early afternoon through the late afternoon hours. Maybe some thunderstorms, too. By evening, they're moving out. So your forecast tonight around 71 degrees. We have a 30% chance of a few thunderstorms in the area. But I think where I showed you on the map, that's where it's going to happen. For Richmond, probably not a great chance. And then tomorrow through the day, we're talking about, and it's not a first alert weather day tomorrow, it's just a normal day. We're not expecting any severe storms, but temperatures will be in the lower 80s. We do expect temperatures to get cooler, though, for later this weekend. Sunday at 75 degrees, 74 Monday, and lower humidity as well. And then we warm back up. Mid-80s Wednesday, upper 80s by Thursday. That will be when we see our next chances of rain as we get toward the middle or end of next week. Back to you, Diane.
All right, Jim, thanks. To follow the protests in Richmond that turned violent within the last hour. Let's send it back to Karina Bolster, who's been live in downtown Richmond all evening. Karina, are people going home, or is the crowd growing?
Well, Diana, at this point, it just looks like people are kind of hanging out here. We are still outside of RPD headquarters at this point. If you've been watching throughout this 11 p.m. newscast, we told you at the top of the hour that a police cruiser was on fire further down the road in front of headquarters. At this point, that has been put out, but there is still a dumpster fire happening here on the side of the headquarters that is still on fire. So at this point, things still pretty calm, I would say. I would actually use that word calm here at this point. Folks just really kind of gathering, watching, speaking with one another. And this is something that we're not quite sure how long is going to last. We do know the helicopter is in the air. It's been in the air for several hours now, and this is obviously a situation that we're going to be here on the ground for quite a while as we really watch and see what happens here in downtown Richmond tonight. Live and on your side in Richmond, Karina Bolster, NBC 12 News.
All right, Karina, thank you, and be safe. We will check back in with you a little later.
And stay with us. We're back with more news right after this. We continue to stay on top of that breaking news in downtown Richmond where protests are underway.
Karina Bolster is live down there right now. Karina, walk us through what you've seen the last few hours.
Heard this group here on the right-hand side of RPD headquarters starting to chant. I'm going to pause just to give you an idea of what they're saying. Of course, they are chanting no justice, no peace. One of the many chants we have heard all throughout this evening. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in, this all started at Monroe Park around 8:30. A large group gathered there and started to walk around the city, going down various streets here in the city. They headed toward the state capitol, made their way around there, and as they were walking on Bank Street, which is the southern part of the Capitol grounds, we noticed that several individuals were moving the cones, the newspaper vending machines, and blocking the road to prevent RPD from following them. That's really what we saw all evening long in terms of law enforcement. They were really just kind of traffic control at that point, monitoring the situation, not really engaging with these folks who were out here protesting. Of course, those cruisers had to seek alternative routes when trying to follow the group of protesters. But really what we've seen happen is those barricades put up as a result by those protesters. We've seen several acts of graffiti out here on various buildings, on various vending machines, and even on buildings of businesses. One business in particular was Wells Fargo that had its window shattered by some unknown person. And so where we are right now is near RPD headquarters, where kind of all of this came to an end when a dumpster was set on fire along with a police cruiser. At this point, the police cruiser has been put out, the fire rather, put out by Richmond Fire, but that dumpster fire is still going at this hour. Really, no, it doesn't look like they are planning to put it out anytime soon, but really this is kind of the scene that we're dealing with right now. A lot of folks just kind of gathered here, chanting every now and then, and really just watching the situation. As I mentioned, we've got the helicopter that's in the air monitoring the situation. One thing that we did notice were a few individuals being led to a police car, handcuffs. So we saw at least two individuals walk to one of the police vans right over here in handcuffs. Unknown the reason why they were detained, but that is what we saw happen earlier this evening. We also spoke with one man who mentioned that when he was on the front of the protest group, he was pepper sprayed by police, but that was the only individual we spoke with who says that happened to him at this point. Now again, things fairly calm at this point. Officers really just standing back, monitoring the crowd at this point. But again, this is really the scene that we're dealing with here in downtown Richmond, one that we've seen play out across other cities here in our country as a result of what happened earlier this week in Minneapolis. Of course, we'll continue to provide you with the latest details of what's happening here in downtown Richmond right here on NBC 12 News. Live and on your side in downtown Richmond, Karina Bolster, NBC 12 News.
All right, Karina, thank you. We appreciate you. Stay safe.